Hey guys, so as promised I am making another video here about GoFest. I've written down a whole bunch of things related to GoFest and all the different kind of items and everything that could potentially be interesting to know for GoFest. So this won't be a fancy episode with a lot of pictures and stuff. There's just not enough time to make that before GoFest. So this will strictly be about the information really. So let's just read through what we are saying here. So when it comes to the quests, a whole bunch of quests have been found in the code already. What we don't know is what kind of bonuses are going to come. So as you might know, there is something called a quest chain, which means that the encounters that you get from quests, you can decide to not catch them immediately. What will happen then is you will put them in a chain. It could be several Pokemon, and you can catch them at a moment. So let's say that during this GoFest event, there will be an hour with double catch Stardust, or there will be an hour with double catch Candy Stardust. Then what you can decide to do is for every quest that you complete, don't catch the Pokemon yet, keep them in the quest chain, and let's say they are rare Pokemon and you want more candies, then wait till a potential double catch candy event comes and catch all of those Pokemon then. Okay, then incubator and eggs. So when it comes to the eggs, then if you look at the GoFest and Safari zones from previous events, previous years, then they always gave 2 kilometer eggs containing special Pokemon. And usually, for example, for me, when I went in Dortmund, you had different areas, and in those different areas you would pick up Pokemon related to that area from the 2 kilometer eggs. And these were usually pretty rare Pokemon. Now we don't have areas, but we do have habitats. So I'm expecting that during every habitat we will get different kind of eggs. And of course we have to see what kind of eggs those are going to be, although you can already do some predicting, as obviously there will be fire, so you will probably get some fire things there. Let me put this a little bit aside. Okay, that's better. Okay, so another thing about the incubators is we don't know yet how interesting the eggs are going to be. I am not going to tell you that you have to use eggs, but what you can do is at least make sure that all the eggs that you have now, that you can try to hatch those just before GoFest starts, so you can pick up all the new eggs immediately. And then during the event, depending on how interesting it is, depending on the information from countries like New Zealand and Australia, you can decide how many incubators you want to use. But I would say be at least prepared so you can use many incubators in case it becomes interesting. So, for example, there are two boxes, the Ultra Box and well, there are three boxes, but the Ultra Box and the Adventure Box are pretty good deals. And the Adventure Box will give you a total of 18 incubators, 14 super and 4 normal. They will give you a savings of like 60%. It's a pretty good box. So you could decide to have enough coins ready, so you can decide, if the eggs are interesting, you can buy a couple of those boxes in a row and use a bunch of incubators during the day. I would also say that 2 kilometer eggs with reduced distance takes only 1 kilometer for normal incubators. So yeah, I mean the normal incubators are still going to be very useful as well. The super incubators will be hatching every 2/3 of a kilometer. So if you play for 10 hours straight and you make many kilometers, then it's going to be absolutely insane how many eggs you can hatch. And you probably don't want to overdo it because that's going to be costing you a lot of money. So try to think ahead what kind of balance you want to go to, how many eggs you are willing to hatch, and how much money you are willing to spend. Potions and revive. So on day one, there is a habitat for battle, but if that is related to the Go Battle League, then you still won't need to use any potions or revives. So I don't think you will be needing a lot of them on day one. Maybe there could be some interesting raids where you could use them for. So yeah, I would advise to keep like 20 max potions, 20 max revives just in case. But it's better to have a lot of Pokeballs and other items for day one. And then on day two, which is probably going to be related to Team Go Rocket, it would be a good idea to have more potions and revives. However, it is likely that during the play of day 1, you will be gathering many potions and revives that you will be able to use then on day 2. Pokeballs, definitely try to have as many as possible. You want to use Ultra Balls for tough Pokemon like Snorlax. If you're using a Go Plus obviously only uses Pokeballs, so you want to have a decent amount of Pokeballs at the start of the event so you can immediately start using the Go Plus. But you don't want to have too many Pokeballs, because for things like Gibble and Snorlax, Pokeballs are just barely going to work, as most of these Pokemon are going to flee from them. So you want to have a good stack of Ultra Balls as well so you can hand catch them. And then of course during the day you have to think about which Pokemon you want to Go Plus and which you rather catch by hand. Incense, this is one of the most important items during the day, I would say. They are going to be spawning a lot, like they have already been doing, so they will last an hour, and there will be a lot of spawns coming from them as usual the previous months. So yeah, if you are hardcore, then you might as well pop 10 incenses at the start of the event, so they will last 10 hours straight. And incense is also fantastic if you are in an area where you cannot really go outside, or maybe it is raining and you still have to be inside to play. Incense can still give you a good event, basically. Lucky Egg, so there might be a bonus related to XP somewhere along the day. So for that, I would say to have like 2 Lucky Eggs ready. So if 1 hour bonus comes for XP, you could pop 2 Lucky Eggs. But I'm not expecting that Lucky Eggs are going to be a big importance for today. Of course, if you are heavily interested in XP, then with all the catching that you're going to do, you could decide to put more Lucky Eggs on. Star Piece. So just like there might be a bonus for Lucky Eggs, there could also be a bonus for the Stardust. Who knows? And you want to have a couple of Star Pieces ready. So again, if there's only a 1 hour bonus, you would need 2 Star Pieces. But if you're going to catch a lot and you're going to hatch a lot of eggs, it might be worth it to use more Star Pieces throughout the day. And then if you do decide to use more Star Pieces, then you can buy that Adventure box or the Ultra box. They both give 4 Star Pieces. So depending whether you are more interested in raids or eggs, you can decide to buy one of those boxes. And you can wait on the day itself to see how interesting the raids are, how interesting the eggs are, and then make your decision. TMs. So yeah, you don't need any TMs for the gameplay of GoFest. So I would advise you to look very carefully at your TMs and say, how many do I think I need to use? So how many do I need to hold on to? And then you can decide to throw the rest away to make space for other items. The raid pass, we don't know if the raids are going to be interesting, but the least you can do is to spin your raid pass today on Friday, your free pass, so you can have, and then not do a raid today, so you can have at least 2 free raids tomorrow, if you are able to use the daily pass, not being in lockdown. Furthermore, if the raids do turn out to be very interesting, then even after the event hours, you can still do raids because of raid remote invites. Because let's say that I am playing in the Netherlands and the event has ended at 8 p.m., but people in the United States will still be playing. The GoFest will still be live there. So what I could do is go to a site like, to an app like PokeRaid and see if people there are looking to do raids. And then I can join people in the United States to do those event raids. So we'll have to see if the raids are going to be interesting, but definitely make sure that you are prepared for PokeRaid, that you understand how it works, so that you're set up so that you can use it if it turns out to be interesting. Then the gifts. So try to have as many gifts as possible ready to open, as we know there's going to be a special bonus for opening your gifts. There will also be quests related to sending gifts. So you want to start the event with 20 gifts in your bag. And yeah, when it comes to sending other people gifts, so preferably you want to send gifts during the event. So when you get a quest to send a gift, or during the hour where you are required to send gifts to unlock the bonus. But you could also send a couple of gifts already beforehand if you don't think you can send a gift to everybody during GoFest. Mysterious component. So I am not expecting much to happen on day 1 for the mysterious components, but maybe maybe the team leaders will have a different Pokemon that turns out to be interesting. On day 2, for sure, it's going to be interesting. So what you could do is to have 6 mysterious components prepared, a rocket radar, so you can immediately use a rocket radar during the GoFest event to get yourself an early battle with the leader. Then on the lure modules, so there's no word that lure modules are going to last longer than 30 minutes, which is going to make it quite the expensive item to use throughout the day. However, it can still be very rewarding to use it. So lure modules are especially interesting if you are stuck in a place, not really being able to move because of your condition or certain rules. If you can find a place with many pokestops in a row, then you can make that your lure spot. You can pop a couple of lures there, and you can activate your instance, and you can just play GoFest there. Then when it comes to the lure modules, then you have the normal lure module, which is going to attract Pokemon from around you, which is going to be GoFest spawns. GoFest spawns related to the current habitat. And then there's also the glacial, magnetic, and mossy lure. So the thing about these lures is they actually spawn the same amount of Pokemon related to your surrounding, but then on top of that, they spawn double the amount of spawns in total. So the other half is spawns related to the name of the lure module. And if we go here to this infographic, then we can see that for the glacial lure, these are the Pokemon that are spawning a lot. So as we know, there is a habitat called water. So you could decide to use the glacial lures during the water habitat, and then you will get so half of the spawns from the glacial lure module will be related to the habitat, but the other half will still be water kind of spawns because that is the pool of Pokemon related to it. Then when it comes to the mossy lure, yeah, there is no habitat related to these grass, poison, and bug type Pokemon really. So I don't see the use of a mossy lure. But then the magnetic lure is interesting because there's no word on electric kind of habitat. However, there is the battle habitat, and when we look at the species coming out of them, we have a Magnemite. Magnezone is interesting in the Go Battle League. We have an Onix. Steelix is interesting in the Go Battle League. We have Electabuzz. Electivire is decent in the Go Battle League. We have Mareep. And Barros is decent in the Go Battle League. We have Skarmory, is very relevant in the Go Battle League. Then we got this Nosepass. Its evolution is also relevant in the Go Battle League. Then we have the evolution of Lairon. Aggron is also decently interesting. Then we have Beldum. Well, Metagross is an absolute beast in the Master League and Premier Cup. And even the evolution of Shieldon is also very useful for the Go Battle League. So then if we see that one of the habitats is Battle, and they've already said that they're going to make content related to the Go Battle League, then it is very possible that these kinds of Pokemon could be spawning for that habitat. And then if you use the magnetic lure as well during that hour, you will get even more of those spawns. So you could definitely use the glacial lure and the magnetic lure throughout the event if you'd like for more spawns. I'm expecting that the shiny rates will be 1 in 50. So you could just use these lure modules throughout the day. Because, well, actually, I mean, if you are using these Pokemon, if they are 1 in 50 as well, then it's still interesting. So it would definitely be a good idea to use lure modules throughout the day with a good chance to get shinies. And then moving on, let's see, what else do we have? Raspberries. Yeah, so there will be some tough Pokemon to catch. Think about something like Snorlax. I think Unown is also tough to catch, although I don't think you'll be catching many of those. Yeah, maybe the Gibbles as well. So you could definitely have a decent stack of raspberries ready so you can tackle down all these Snorlax. But of course you will be gathering more raspberries throughout the day by spinning pokestops as well. So you don't have to overdo it by starting with a large stack of raspberries. Nanoberries seems like a waste of backspace, but there will be a couple of quests related to nanoberries. So I would advise to start with around 20 at least, maybe 10. So you can at least do a couple of quests, and then throughout the day you can gather the extra nanoberries. Don't delete all of your nanoberries, always keep like 5. So if a quest comes related to nanoberries, you can do it. Pineapple berries. So normally I would throw away most of my pineapple berries. However, during GoFest, knowing that Gibble is going to spawn, it's definitely a good idea to have a good amount of pineapples ready. I would advise like 50 or 100 at the start of the event. And then it depends a little bit on how many pineapples you will be able to gather throughout the day. If you know that you're going to spin a lot of pokestops, then you might be fine with 50 at the start. If you're struggling a little bit more with gathering things from pokestops in your area, then you want to start with a larger amount. And if you basically cannot spawn any pokestops at all, then you could decide to start with like 200 pineapple berries, so you can really use them all on all of these Gibbles. Golden raspberries. So golden raspberries, to some people this is a very valuable item. To some people doing many raids, it's not that interesting, but it definitely has play to use in GoFest. When you think about Snorlax, then normal raspberries might not be enough. So if you do have a large stack of golden raspberries, you could definitely use them to catch those Snorlaxes. Not only will it help you to catch the Pokemon, but it will probably also save you some time to catch it faster. So I would say to you, decide now how many golden raspberries you are willing to use for GoFest and how many you want to keep so you can use it for raid bosses. Think about it now, so during the event you don't need to think anymore and you can just use them and keep track of how many you have left, and at a certain point you will stop using them because you have reached your threshold. Then, the silver pineapple berries, if you have them, great. You can use them on high CP Pokemon like Snorlax or Gibble. So if you do find Gibbles that are really high CP, you could decide to use a silver pineapple because you think that a normal pineapple might not be good enough to catch it. Puffins. So not sure if this will be useful. What we do know is there's going to be a friendship habitat as well. So who knows, maybe they go for some bonus related to the hearts of buddies, saying that every heart counts as 2. This is just speculation, don't quote me on it, but a certain kind of bonus, who knows, it might happen. So if that does, then you could decide to use Puffins to make more use of that event bonus. When we're talking about buddies anyway, you want to have buddies throughout the day that have at least 2 hearts. So that's great buddies, I believe, because then their catch assist is activated, and this will save you balls throughout the day. So make sure that you use buddies with at least 2 hearts throughout the day. Evolution stones, yeah, you can keep a few in case there is a quest related to it. But other than that, you should dump the excessive ones to try and create room for other items. Pokemon storage. So fortunately, you can get 500 more storage now. So that basically solves all problems. Now, if you are not willing to buy 500 extra spaces of storage now, then you could decide to go through your Pokemon collection to try and clean out as many Pokemon as you can. And what you can do to use this is use a search string. So for example, if you use this search string here, then what happens when you type this is it will show all of your low IV Pokemon, all of your Pokemon below 80 IV that are not shiny, not legendary, and not shadow. So when you copy paste this in your Pokemon storage, then you can they will give you a better overview and you can see which kind of Pokemon you can throw away to create even more space. Why is it good to have much space? Well, not only to have to go through your storage space less often during the day to throw Pokemon away, but also so you can keep more Pokemon for later to do trades. So for example, you can keep more Gibbles, and you can trade those Gibbles even after GoFest with someone, as they're going to be very valuable trade material. During the day, you can also use search string to clean out your storage. So the simplest one is the 0, 1, and 2 star. But if there are certain Pokemon that you want to keep for trades, let's say Gible and Snorlax, then you can say exclamation mark Snorlax and exclamation mark Gible, and then find only 0, 1, and 2 stars that are not Gible and Snorlax. This way you can more easily throw everything away, and you don't have to look carefully if you don't accidentally click on a Snorlax or Gible. Okay, the Go Plus. Make sure it's charged, make sure it's functioning correctly. If you haven't used it in a while, then try it out now, see if it works correctly, or if you need to update something. So yeah, as said before, you want to have a decent amount of Pokeballs ready at the start of the event, and you will gather more Pokeballs throughout the day, and you can keep using them, and you want to make sure that you use them on easier to catch Pokemon, and you don't want to use a Go Plus on the Gibbles or Snorlax. On Snorlax because, well, basically you have almost no chance to catch the Snorlax. If they didn't increase the chance of catching a Snorlax. And on Gibble, yeah, I mean, first of all, you want to Pineap it. If you just throw a Pokeball with the Go Plus, you're not Pineapping it. You want to Pineap it, and you want to use a Great Ball probably, or Ultra Ball, to make sure you catch it. Then the spawns, what to catch. So yeah, during the day you want to find a balance of which Pokemon you're going to catch and which you're just going to shiny check. The balance will depend on your region, whether you stay at home, how many balls you have, and other factors. So I would advise you to make a plan now, and you can even make a better plan if you already see what has happened in Australia and in New Zealand. But yeah, make a plan. Say like, okay, these Pokemon are going to be important. I want to make sure that I catch all of these. And then throughout the day, constantly check the amount of balls that you have to see if you are going at a pace where you will be able to make it throughout the entire day, or if you are going at a pace that at 4 p.m. you will be out of Pokeballs if you keep continuing like this. Because then you will need to make an adjustment and say like, okay, do I really want to catch these and these Pokemon? Or am I going to shiny check them from now on to preserve more balls so I can catch these other Pokemon? So make a plan of that and keep constantly checking how it is going. Keep managing your ball supply. Yeah, so between 8 p.m. and 10 a.m. there will be a window where you will be able to, there will be no GoFest at that moment. It's the end of day 1 and then the start of day 2. And in this window, you could decide to go outside and spin as many Pokestops as you can to gather balls again for day 2. But at the same time, after 10 hours of playing on day 1, you will probably be a bit exhausted and you'll probably not be wanting to go out there just to spin Pokestops for day 2. So this is a bit tricky because we don't know what's going to happen on day 2. We don't know if we will be needing many balls on day 2 or if day 1 is mostly interested for the spawns, while day 2 is more interested for battles, like battles against Team Rocket. So you will have to think for yourself if you want to risk using all your balls on day 1, or if you want to preserve some balls for day 2. And yeah, I mean, if you think you have the time and the energy for it, you can decide in between to stock up on more balls again. Okay, special research. So once you've picked it up, you can complete it at any time. You could complete it a year later if you want. Knowing that, when we look at Victini, for example, you could decide to wait with catching Victini because at a certain point there will come a moment where you can get a double catch candy. This might happen for an hour during GoFest, or you can do it sometime after GoFest. But there will be a moment where you can get double catch candy for Victini. So if you are struggling with the rare candies and you don't really mind not catching it immediately, then you could decide to hold on to the Victini and catch it later. The Today View. In the Today View you should be able to see everything that's going on, what kind of task needs to be completed during the hour, and what bonus will be activated as the task is completed. So check the Today every now and then to see what is going on, and then you can plan ahead if you know already what the bonus is going to be. And yeah, just keep checking that. And of course, the best thing you can do is in your Saturday morning, check already what has happened in New Zealand and in Australia, and then you can plan even further ahead. So power banks. You want to make sure that your power banks are charged, of course. You want to make sure that you have enough power banks. If you have one power bank but it's not a strong one, then it might not be enough for the full 10 hours of the events. You want to have a cable. I would advise you to try out your power bank with cable now to see if it is charging correctly. If it isn't, you will need to buy a new cable because the cables sometimes they just break or stop functioning properly. Furthermore, I would also advise you to have a reserve cable because if something happens to it during the GoFest hours, well, without the cable you can't charge and you won't be able to play anymore. So have one or two power banks, depending on how strong they are, have a cable and have a reserve cable as well. Then just make sure that you are aware of the current COVID rules in your area. For example, if it is going to rain here and I decide suddenly that I want to go to an indoor area and I want to take the bus, then I would need to wear a mask, and I don't have a mask now. So if I would go to the bus and say like, yeah, I just want to go there, and they're saying like, no, you're not allowed in because you don't have a mask, then that's going to waste a whole lot of time for me during my GoFest experience. So make sure you are aware of your current COVID rules in your area. Food and drinks, of course, bring plenty of water and prepare a good lunch package with some snacks in between. You can have a big breakfast, then you have the lunch package with you and some snacks, maybe something that will give you energy like a banana. And you can decide to buy these things in the morning as the event only starts at 10 EM. So if you go to bed early, then in the morning you should be able to get these items, which will be fresher in that case. When it comes to the weather, if we go to the sun, then I think this is a bit more easy to handle. You want to have sunscreen with you and after sun, so that if you feel that you're starting to burn, you can do something against it. Some people use an umbrella to protect themselves from the rain, from the sun, sorry. Yeah, also from the rain, but in this case we're talking about the sun. You can find a place in the shade to park the car, but also to play. So if you can find an area in your place, like a park which has many trees and some places with shade, then this will be great. You will be looking for a place that has a good amount of spawns, but also some places with shade, so you can play in the sun for a while and then go to the area where there is more shade. This will not only protect you, but it will also protect your phone from overheating. Okay, so when it is raining, this is more tricky. It is more tricky to me. Maybe if you play mostly from the car, it's going to be much easier to handle. If you happened to play mostly in an indoor area, that's fantastic for you. But if you are like me and you're mostly just playing outside, I always play on the bicycle, maybe you play on the by foot. It's very tricky. So obviously, if the screen becomes wet, it is tough to catch Pokemon. If the screen is wet, it is impossible to use the catch trick. Just a few drops and the catch trick is not going to work. Your balls will go all the way to the right of the screen or to the left. That's not going to work, guys. So if it is raining only slightly, then it is possible to handle the situation. You want to bring some kind of towel with you so you can wipe your screen clean every now and then you can continue catching. It will be very tough throughout the day. You will have to constantly think whether it is raining too hard now, or if it is just a little bit of rain so you can keep playing. But it is a very unrelaxing way of playing because you don't know if it could start raining a little bit faster any moment and then you will not be able to play anymore. So of course you can try to go for an indoor area. As we discussed before, you can find an indoor area with many pokestops, so you can lure the place up while using the incense. You can play there. You could, of course, if you have a car, then you could play in the car. You can find a nice place with some. You could also, from the car, find a nice lure spot. So if it isn't indoor, then you can do it from the car, and you can also go from parking place to get all of the cluster spawns. When it comes to the rain, then your phone should be waterproof. Most phones should be waterproof, but usually you will have a problem with the wire because you will be playing for 10 hours. If you are playing for 10 hours, you will need to charge up the phone at some point, and if it's constantly raining, that is a tough thing to do. So if it's raining only slightly, then you're probably okay to charge the phone with the cable. But as soon as it starts raining faster, harder, then you will need to put the cable out of the phone probably to protect it from the rain, to protect your phone from the rain and your cable. So you will put your cable in your bag. You will have some sort of bag with you. Probably you will need to have some kind of plastic bag in there as well. So you can really make sure that it's safe. Even if it's raining hard and the rain comes through your bag, then it's still in the plastic bag, so it is safe. Just like the power bank. And then for the phone, you want to protect your USB port. Because even though the phone is waterproof, your USB port is always a place where if the rain comes in there, it's still going to lead to trouble. At least it has led to trouble for me personally. Of course, if you are playing by foot and it is not the wind is not too strong, then you could definitely use an umbrella. It will probably not go perfectly because usually the rain will still get to your phone somehow outside of the umbrella, but it can definitely help. And yeah, just try to do the best that you can. Alright, now I've went to everything that I want to talk about to prepare for GoFest, things you can do during GoFest. But now I want to go to the spoiler section. So there is already a bunch of information for day 2 found in the code. I was not willing to share that earlier because this might, it was meant as a surprise for day 2, and it would, it would definitely impact your gameplay for day 2. It would not, for some people it wouldn't be fun if they already knew what was happening. So yeah, but there are some tips to share there as well. So I'm going to say I'm going now to the spoiler section. If you don't want the spoilers, then you should stop watching at this moment. If you are interested in the tips for the spoiler section, then we can continue right now. So when it comes to day 2, then we already know that Team Go Rocket is going to be a big part of it. There has been many announcements and many hints already for that, so that's not really a spoiler. But we can look even deeper into it. And if we go to the code, where is it? It's here. Then we can see, let me go to the right section here. The leaders will be wielding the legendary birds, making them more formidable opponents than before. So we can see here the text. The team leaders and I have been scoping out Team Go Rocket members traveling via balloon and have discovered that the Team Go Rocket leaders are using flying type Pokemon. Sources are telling me that they might have captured some legendary Pokemon and turned them into shadow Pokemon. Condela, Blanche and Spark can handle the Team Go Rocket leaders from here. While you prepare to face the boss, it's extremely interesting to see the Team Go Rocket leaders commanding these shadow legendary Pokemon, which are usually reserved for the boss. Okay, so these are definitely hinting towards Zapdos, Articuno and Moltres, because these 3 are legendary, they are birds, and they have been used by Giovanni before. As we can see here from Giovanni, November, December 2019, were Articuno and Zapdos, and then in January 2020 it was Moltres that was used by Giovanni. That is not all. Looks like Giovanni will be wielding himself something special to make it a tough battle. And they're saying, who would have thought that he could turn even Mewtwo into a Shadow Pokemon? So Shadow Mewtwo is coming to GoFest 2020, and it will be for the research for day 2. Probably the last encounter. So again, I could advise you to hold on to the Mewtwo and catch it for double candy when there is a double candy bonus. But yeah, Shadow Mewtwo will be coming, the legendary birds will be coming. So they were saying something about the team leaders handling them, but I do know that in the code there's also a sentence that says something about you battling them. I wouldn't be able to find that so quickly though, but definitely be prepared to battle against these Pokemon, because these could be tough matches. So you want to have a party ready so you can handle these battles. So when we look at something like Zapdos, Articuno and Moltres, then we know that all of them are weak to rock. Some of them are double weak to rock. This makes Tyranitar with Smackdown and Stone Edge a fantastic option to counter these Pokemon. When it comes to the first Pokemon of the leaders, if you battle against them, it is likely that they will be keeping the same first Pokemon. We don't know that for sure, of course, but if they do, Then against a Grimer, you can use something like a ground Pokemon. So you could use something like a Groudon. You could use something like a Rhyperior with a ground moveset. And against the Pineco, you could use something like a Charizard. And against Lapras, you can use something with fighting, something like a Machamp or a Lucario with Power Punch. And on the Machamp, you will be wanting Cross Chop. These are pretty tough battles. For example, Lapras is definitely tough. A trick you can do is to put your counter in the second place, and at the start of the battle, immediately switch into your second Pokemon. Now you will get 2 or 3 free fast attacks, so you can do more fast attacks now, which will make it more likely for you to defeat this Pokemon. And then we know that the third spot is going to be the legendary bird, for which we want to be using a Tyranitar. And then for the second place, you want to have something that's going to counter any of these Pokemon. Yeah, just try something strong like a Dialga, for example. And if you do fail the first attempt, then you know what the second Pokemon is going to be, and you can adjust accordingly. Then when it comes to Giovanni, then we do know that he always starts with a Persian, so it is safe to start with a Machamp with Cross Chop. Again, you could put it in second position, immediately switch into Machamp, so you will have a couple of more attacks. Then Pokemon 3 is going to be the Mewtwo. Now I could advise you to use a Tyranitar with Bite and Crunch. What else have I written down? You could also decide to go maybe for a Giratina, maybe for Giratina Origin with Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball. Or maybe a Pinsir or Scissor with the Bug moveset. It will depend on what moveset this Mewtwo will have. Maybe it will have a moveset that is going to absolutely destroy the Tyranitar. Then you should try Giratina next. And maybe Pinsir or Scissor will actually be your best option. It's going to be very dependent on the moveset. And then we don't know what the second Pokemon is going to be. It could be, yeah, I mean, it could be one of the current Pokemon here. Maybe you are safe using a, well, maybe you are safe using a Pokemon that is a strong ground Pokemon. Yeah, just try something like Dialga. I mean, Dialga is going to be strong against Garchomp here because it's also Dragon type. And basically Draco Meteor just one-shot so many Pokemon. So you could try something like Dialga as second option. Okay, so that's what's going to happen for day 2. The team leaders will be using the legendary birds, and Giovanni will be using Shadow Mewtwo. So no guarantee that you will need to battle against the team leaders, but it is likely. And then yeah, and then the Mewtwo, you will definitely need to battle against the Mewtwo. So if you do battle against the legendary birds, then try to save these Pokemon, because Shadow Pokemon have a 20% boost in attack, and even with bad IVs, they're going to be very useful. Furthermore, Zapdos is very relevant in PvP. Articuno is relevant in PvP for sure as well. Moltres is not relevant at the moment in PvP. It might be in the future, but even then you can use it in raids and in gym battles. It is one of the strongest flying type attackers. With the Shadow Boost, is going to be maybe your strongest flying type attacker to use in raids. So keep these Pokemon, and of course you're going to keep Shadow Mewtwo as well. Okay, so that is all of the information for day 2. Let me also go to the grunts. Let's say that Team 2 is completely related to Team Go Rocket. Who knows? Maybe the whole day there will be so many pokestops turned into shadow stops, and so many balloons are coming that you are battling the whole day. Then what you want is to have parties prepared so you can battle faster. So we can see here from Bulbapedia, which is a great site, by the way. This is a great site to find information also related to the grunts, to Team Go Rocket. So we can see here the lineups. So for normal does not mean weak. You are safe to use a Machamp, and then you might want to use something like a Tyranitar in case the first Pokemon is a Zubat. Then for the second one, you will be safe to use a Mewtwo with Psystrike. For a battle against flying type Pokemon, you will be very safe to use a Tyranitar with the Rock moveset. Then against Coiled and Ready to Strike, this will be a guaranteed Nidoran family. So a ground type Pokemon like Groudon will be very good here. You will be defeated into the ground. We can see here a Gligar, We can see here Pupitar and stuff. So what you can do here is you can use a Kyogre with a Waterfall and Blizzard. The Waterfall will be doing a fair amount of damage to these to any of these Pokemon, and you should be able to take them out. And then you can one-shot one of these Pokemon with Blizzard, because I believe they are both double weak to Ice. Rock and Roll will either give you an Omanite or a Shuckle. Yeah, and then you will get the Larvitar and Pupitar in the back, so you can definitely use a Machamp. Machamp is going to be strong, and you could decide to start with Kyogre to take care of the Shuckle first. Go my super big Pokemon, so something like a Charizard is going to be very strong here with Fire Blast, and then you might want to use Dragon Claw as well, which can help do a little bit of damage, which will then give you more delays so you can farm down and use a Fire Blast later. Kekeke, so you can see here all Ghosts. So a Tyranitar with Crunch is going to be great, Bite and Crunch. How what Pokemon Fire Breath can get? A Kyogre will be great here again. Magikarp is going to be very easy. So if you see the Water Treacherous, you might want to keep one strong electric type attacker in case you get the Gyarados here, for example. And then, well, obviously the electric type attackers are going to be strong either way. So if you start with something like a Raikou, then you will probably be good against this entire lineup. I usually use a Venusaur actually in this lineup with Frenzy Plant. That's doing very well too. Don't tangle with us. Again, you can use Charizard. Get ready to be shocked. This is a great opportunity to use something like a Groudon, a strong ground type attacker. I use kind of psychics that use unseen powers. So a Tyranitar with Bite and Crunch is going to be very strong again. But the Wobbuffet can be annoying against the Tyranitar. So you might have to switch out into something else. You might be able to use a Gengar against Wobbuffet and then clear up with Tyranitar later. You're going to be frozen in your tracks. So something like a Tyranitar is definitely going to be strong here. Roar, how did that sound? You want a strong Ice type attacker. I usually use my Mamoswine. If you have a maxed out Mamoswine with Powder Snow and Avalanche, then all you need to do is farm down the Dratini. Yes, you will not have a lot of health left, but you will have 2 Avalanches ready, and you just use the Avalanche on whatever these is, and you use the Avalanche of one of these Pokemon. The only possible problem could be a Gyarados, so you might want to have a strong electric type attacker in the back, like a Raikou, so you can handle the Gyarados. Wherever there is light, there is also shadow. This is a bit of a tricky one. You could use a Machamp, but it's going to be a slow battle. For me, using Rhyperior with Rockwhacker and I believe Mudslap has been working really well. I can farm down the first Pokemon, and then the Rockwhacker is really strong. And then I can farm down the rest, and then I can use another Rockwhacker here on the Skuntank. And that's going pretty well. Don't bother, I've already won. You want to start with a Tyranitar with the Rock moveset. That's going to be fantastic against a Snorlax. You want to have a Metagross in case a Gardevoir comes out, because a Gardevoir can absolutely wreck your team. You want to have a Metagross just in case. And then, yeah, against these Pokemon, I mean, you could use something like a Raikou, which is going to be strong against Gyarados and Dragonite. You could also decide to go for another Tyranitar, but you have to watch out for the Gyarados, so you will need to use your switches smartly and be prepared on energy so you can throw the Stone Edge before the Gyarados takes you out. I don't think you will be needing Deco Grunts, but maybe you can use. Maybe once you get the Super Rocket Raider for Giovanni, you will be able to do a couple of D-Grunts. If you do want that, well, you can see that you can start with something like a Tyranitar and then have a Machamp or a Tyranitar in the back to take care of the rest. Jesse and James. So I usually start with a Rhyperior here. I can take down the Ekans with the Mud Slap attack, the Ground Fast attack, and then I can have a Rockwhacker to use against Scyther. And then if I give it a second move as well for Surf or something, then I can use that against Bacon. But you will take the Bacon down easily. And then against James, yeah, I mean, you can use a variety of Pokemon. For me, Waterfall Kyogre has been working pretty well. I can take down the Coughing easily. I can use one serve on the Sneasel, and then take it down with fast moves, and then use another serve on the Beldum, which goes pretty well, goes pretty fast. There might be a faster way to beat this lineup though. So that is everything that I have to say about that. Be prepared for all of the Team Go Rocket possibilities. Have your team lineups prepared so you can battle faster, and it will allow you to do more battles and have more gameplay experience throughout the day. So that's everything that I wanted to share for tips for GoFest. It's a lot of information again. So the stream will be coming soon for the start, the kickoff start will be coming soon. So see if you can tune in. Hopefully it is not in the middle of the night for you, for your live stream. But in the morning, you should be able to read through everything that is happening for GoFest. Maybe a site like GoUp will tell you that. If not, you can go to something like Reddit, and you can read through everything that's happening. And yeah, the last thing I have to say is that I hope you have a lot of fun, and you will get a lot of good catches during GoFest. So have a lot of fun, and I will see you in the next episode.